Peace be with you, and welcome this new show, Top Show. Really, we are moving, no? Step by step. In the previous Top Show, we present different points. Most of the points are taken from this book, Interreligious Dialogue and Mission of Dialogue and Peace in the light of the Beatitude that I prepared last year. And this is another, most of the questions from now will be guided by this booklet. It's a primer. And of course, if somebody want to read, they can read these books also in the website that we propose to you. In the same time, as we said in some other Top Show, you feel free to ask additional questions. I remember one time a certain person, we consider the so-called Católico Cerrado, question about interreligious dialogue, say a few points, and I try to answer. So we are ready for clarification. So this is our challenge to discover more, and when we discover, we can appreciate more. Now, probably we go to some question. Do you think there are some questions relevant?
Yes, there are many questions, even
Okay.
coming from Catholic Christians, Father. In reality, there are many religions in the world and in our society. Which one can claim to be the true one?
That is always the point. Of course, we know that each religion claims to be the true, and because if we have the faith, it means that we believe in that faith. It's not only because in my case I was born in a Catholic family, but along the way I deepened this faith and became my choice. No, the same thing could be for a Muslim. They could say, for me it's like this, and there are many religions in the world. In the past, even present, small groups that they claim they have their claim. So we respect all. In the same time, this is a challenge to deepen our faith and to know more the others. So that is one reality, no?
Okay, so when we speak of interreligious dialogue, we speak of peace, global ethic. So how does each religion connect to the global ethic and peace?
Yes, this is a concept that is relatively new, was proposed by Hans Kuhn in 1989. He belonged to the Parliament of Religions, so organizations were interested to find a point in common. And in this understanding of the global ethic, they can see that we are so different in terms of religions, in terms of beliefs, but we have some common values. I think that are the common values that we call global ethic.
Okay, so do you consider this global ethic, Father, as a new religion?
No, in reality, that is a tendency, but of course, it is not a new religion, but it's an effort to see that in each religion there are values. When we talk about interreligious dialogue, we always explain in that each religion has a faith, rituals, and also spirituality. We are quite different in terms of faith, in terms of rituals, etc. But in terms of spirituality that include moral values, we are quite close, and that is a kind of discovering, because we can encourage people not to fight, but to find a way to appreciate what is in common. Meanwhile, we appreciate also what is different, no?
Do you have any definition? I think we have to present, Father,
Yes.
as a definition of this global ethic.
Yes, please. I think you can find, because it's very accurate there in the question and answer.
Yes, Hans Kunz presented to us a meaning, or a particular meaning of this global ethic. According to him, the global ethic means neither a global ideology nor a single unified global religion transcending all existing religions, nor a mixture of religions. Humanity is weary of unified ideologies, and in any case, the religions of the world are so different in their views of faith and dogmas, their symbols and rites, that a unification of them would be meaningless, a distasteful syncretistic cocktail. Instead, the global ethic seeks to work out what is already common, as you have said earlier, common to the religions of the world, despite their differences over human conduct, moral values, and basic moral convictions. In other words, the global ethic does not reduce the religions to an ethical minimalism, but represents the minimum of what the religions of the world already have in common now in the ethical sphere. The global ethic is not directed against anyone, but invites all, believers and non-believers, to make this ethic their own and act in accordance with it.
It's a full-on concept. I
Yes.
try to comment some of this. And of course, we hope that leaders in the world enter in the spirit of interreligious dialogue and deepen this. It's something that is becoming more part of the attention in our journey of interreligious dialogue. Now, you mentioned in the definition, it's not a mixture of religion. This is something that always is dangerous. People in interreligious dialogue sometimes are confused, and we are not on that line. In the same time, about the syncretism. Syncretism means that we make one cocktail, no?
Yes.
And put together and make one religion. In fact, there are some effort of new religions that came after the big religions, so especially Islam and Christianity, that have been trying to put the pieces. We can say what they believe is more important, and they made their own religion. We respect this effort, but in the same time we can say that this global ethic, it's really relatively new effort, because when we talk about interreligious dialogue, we talk also about the respect of the others. In our journey, when we talk, for instance, the document on interreligious dialogue, Vatican II, Nostra Aetate, there is a beautiful point that say, although we are different, but we esteem, for instance, that the Muslim respect Jesus as a prophet, the Virgin Mary. So some point that we can find in Islam, of course, when we say this at the end, this point doesn't mean that it's the same faith.
Yes.
But we esteem, we are happy that there is a presentation that is positive, although Jesus Christ or Mary, although are the same person, but in our faith understanding is a little bit different, in some way also very different. No? So all these are new concept that I believe needs to be built up. No?
And this global ethic, Father, we can identify the golden rule. The
Yes.
golden rule that most common ones related to the traditional religions and other religions presented. So may I present this common, or the religions and other religions. We have this first, the indigenous spiritualities. It says here, do not strive to cause your neighbor's undoing, or as you strive for your own good treatment, render it to others. Would you like to comment on this? Indigenous spiritualities?
Yes, actually, when we talk about indigenous spirituality, there is a special document of the church talking about the dialogue with traditional religion.
Yes.
Strictly speaking, we cannot consider religions, because in the normal sense of religions, it's a group who have written book, etc. But the traditions are so strong that we can consider tradition. Now there are different level of this tradition, but are so different. It's difficult to describe all the traditions. So when the church talk about these indigenous groups, talk about the indigenous spirituality, no? Indigenous spirituality that put together all. And it is nice that in this definition of the global rule, they identified this one. Maybe you read again this
Yes.
indigenous spirituality.
Do not strive to cause your neighbor's undoing,
Mm.
for as you strive for your own good treatment, so render it to others.
Mm.
So the same with, of course, Hinduism also, and Chinese religion, and Buddhism has their own version.
Yes, it's
The-
important also.
Yes, when you say Hinduism, they said, this is the essence of morality. Do not do to others which, if done to you, would cost you pain. Chinese religion said, do not do to others what you do not want them to do unto you. Buddhism also said, a state that is not pleasant or delightful to me must be so for him. Also, in a state which is not pleasant or delightful for me, how could I inflict that on another? Judaism said, what is hateful to you, do not do to your neighbor. That is the basic law. All the rest is commentary. And of course, when we say Christianity, whatever you wish that others do to you, do so to them. That is what the law of God and the teachings of the prophets are all about. And Islam said, no one of you is a believer until he desires for his brother that which he desires for himself.
So it's beautiful. In a way, in different way, there is that sense of respect for the others, no?
Yes.
And of course, we know that the Hinduism, Buddhism, and other are considered the so-called Oriental religion.
Yes.
And meanwhile, the Judaism, Christianism, and Islam are the monotheistic religion that claim the same Father Abraham, like father of the faith, and say that from their move, they are understanding, although meanwhile they move, they are becoming different according to their belief in the stage of formation. So these are important. Often we find this a golden rule more and more often, and this can help a lot to pacify people and say, look, no matter how we are different, we have to respect each other. And I think in line with these ideas, the document on human fraternity that we mentioned, and we will say still something of Pope Francis and the Grand Imam of El-Azhar University, are in this line. So we are human fraternity, we have to respect each other. So a big work and big challenge.
Big challenge, yes. But as I am listening to you, I remember that there are people who would say that it is not advisable to present other religions because it can confuse the other people, no, from a specific religion. So how can we say, or how can we answer to this comment or question?
Unfortunately, you find this comment around, even inside the church, maybe with all good intention. Probably we can say it's true if people do not know and do not understand, can get confused. But in reality, in the religious dialogue, it's not to confuse people, but to help to go to a deeper level of our spiritual journey, to understand how the Lord is working in a mysterious way, and how my faith is important to me, the faith of another person of another religion is important. I remember that even personally, I'm a priest, Catholic priest. It happened that I studied 2 years in Rome, Islam, Arabic. Just it was part of my ongoing formation, and it was useful. And of course, I remain a good priest. I try to be a good priest, and I'm happy of my faith, but with a great respect for the others. Maybe we can say some others in during these times we have we sent to study in Rome Christianity. One is Jasara, it's in high position in DEPED, and one is Dr. Ben-Hur, who is the head of the University of Zamboanga Library, and they are good Muslim, and they really appreciate Christianity and strengthen their faith. So with this, we can say and we can conclude that really interreligious dialogue, it's a field that needs to be deepened, and when we deepen this field of our faith, we discover how God is close to us, and we are interested, hopefully, to do more, to move in this direction, and encourage others to live and promote dialogue and peace. Padayon and move on.
Thank you very much for being with us.